Hi there, and welcome to the Performance Accountancy video guide. So my name's Louise Harrington. I run Performance Accountancy, and the purpose of this video is just to give an overview on what happens if you decide to build a home office. Absolutely no problem building a home office, but if you think you're going to be able to offset the costs against your self-employed business, you need to think again. So unfortunately, yes, this is going to be bad news, a bad news video for some people. But let's crack on. So we know at the moment that there are plenty of reasons why you might want to build a home office. So it could be because you're just expanding out of the house, it's a brand new business you're trying to build, or it could be the fact that you would normally work in an office, but for specific reasons, then you're not going to be able to this year. So you decide, let's had enough of working in the house, let's go and build one in the garden. So here you go. So there are capital allowances for structures and buildings, etc. But an office in the garden, a home office, is not an allowable business expense, and you cannot claim the building instructions and land relief. Also means you cannot claim any of the groundworks you have to have in order to flatten the ground to build the office, any planning, architect's fees, constructions costs, or decoration. It would normally be available for companies that have the ability to build offices, but it is specifically excluded if it's in private residential properties or it's an outbuilding for a private residential property. So unfortunately, all those costs you have incurred in actually building the garden office are not allowable. However, you will be able to claim capital allowances on plant and machinery, or for a better fitting for our industry, the fixtures and fittings element. But what you must do if the same company is building the outhouse, sounds good, doesn't it? Building the garden office, then you need to get itemized bills of the spend, because they have to be split between the building and the structure and the actual fitting out of that garden office. So having given you the bad news that the actual big money spend on building the garden office is not an allowable cost, what actually is allowable? Well, it's known as plant and machinery, but that doesn't really ring any bells with us in the arts entertainment industry. So we call them fixtures and fittings. So furnishings that might go in, for example, the sofa you've got for clients to come and visit you, a desk to actually sit and do your work from. So you've got furnishing and fittings, computer, telecommunications, surveillance systems, and specific wiring to do with the business. So not general wiring to get electricity down to the garden office, but anything specific for the business. For example, an ISDN line for a voiceover artist. That would be a specific bit of wiring. Burglar alarm systems, that would be an allowable cost. Then things that are useful and specific to the business. So looking at a musician or an actor or a voiceover artist, it's potentially things like the recording studio equipment, rehearsal kits, musical equipment, even to the point of, if you're a cellist, a chair and the mat with a spike hole in it, that would be allowable as capital. Something that small might just go through as a revenue expense. Recording booth equipment, if you've got a home set up and in the corner you've actually got a specific recording booth. Soundproofing the whole office, air cooling systems and lighting rigs that might need to go in it, and a recent one, acoustic windows and frames. So if you're using it as a recording studio, you might have soundproofed all the walls, but the window is the area where some sound will escape from. So you can get acoustic windows and the frames to go around it in order to make it much more soundproof. So yes, it's great that you can get all these fixtures and fittings allowable, but still not the cost of the building. So there are things you need to be very wary of when it comes to building a garden office. If it's used for business only, you may have to pay business rates. That's a bit of a bummer because you pay council tax on your home and garden, etc. But having a specific business premise in your home may make you qualify for business rates. But equally, you might be able to claim the small business rate relief. There might be a capital gains tax implication because it technically increases the value of your home, especially if it is built of brick rather than a much more temporary, we can take this down. Well, I call them posh sheds, but some of them are very, very posh, but some of them just look like sheds. So that type of temporary structure you might be able to take away, and it might not then have any implication on capital gains tax. But that's if it's 100% business. Obviously, if you have some private use in it, then that's different. You may have to get planning permission. Where I've found is that tree preservation orders might stop the ability to build a garden office if it's going to be within a certain amount of space between the tree with the preservation order on and the building itself. So check into whether you have to get planning permission, whether it has under a certain square meterage, then you possibly don't, or whether it's going to come under permitted development. So they're the things you need to be aware of. And I know you're still probably reeling from the fact you can't actually claim the build cost of the garden office. So any problems, please feel free to get in contact. They're my contact details. Not sure if the fax number still works. I must check that out. I'm paying for it. Doesn't mean to say the equipment works with it. All right, so have a good day. Bye.